As a servant to the people of Queensland and Australia, I want to note that peace and security are my goals. Yet often these conflict, part of the ironies of the human condition, at a personal level, a global level. We do know some things for sure. War is ugly. There are many inhuman actions in even the smallest war. We also know that truth is always war's first casualty. Now, we're told there are two sides in this issue in Ukraine. I want to discuss a third view. So far, we've only heard one view. I'll leave the other side to the Russians. They can talk for themselves. I'm not going to speak for the Russians. I want to discuss a third view. Having read widely in the last 14 years, I no longer swallow the crap we were fed at school, and we continue to be fed in the media. Former Senator Ron Paul in the United States is acknowledged for trying to start a peace department, a Department of Peace in America instead of a Defence Department. He has said, and he had the respect when he was in Congress of both sides of politics, Democrats and Republicans. Very well known for his honesty, his competence, his sincerity. Ron Paul said, every major war since 1913 can be directly attributable to the United States Federal Reserve Bank, which is controlled by globalists. I take your mind back, Senator Steele-John just talked about Iraq. I take your mind back to Iraq, and I remind people of what Mr. Alexander Downer said when he retired, on his last night, and he retired, and he said, when John Howard came back in 2001 from the 9/11 trade towers collapse, he walked into Cabinet and said, we're off to Iraq. We're off to Iraq. And the Cabinet followed, and Australia followed, and we killed, in that conflict, Australian men and women, young men and women. We also killed a lot of Iraqis and other nationalities. We're off to Iraq. And I can recall another incident too where Prime Minister Howard, Prime Minister Tony Blair from the United Kingdom, and George W. Bush from the United States, the President, said we're all going to go there because of weapons of mass destruction. And then, quietly, the world was told they never had any evidence of weapons of mass destruction. But not one parliament, not one Congress held anyone accountable. Similarly, after the Vietnam War and so many other wars around the world. And as Senator Steele-John just said, led in many occasions by the United States. And I have huge admiration for the United States. Having lived there for 5 years, been through all 50 states, worked in 8 states, lived in 8 states, I admire what the United States has done. I'm married to an American, a dual citizen, Australian-American. But I recognise now that I swallowed a lot of rubbish from the Americans, propaganda from the Americans, because the Americans, the government of America, led many war efforts. And the American people are fine, peace-loving people, but we have been taken into conflicts. So I'm open to alternative views on this Ukrainian issue. But we have no dog in this fight, and we should stay out of it. We repeatedly see decisions in this place. As people know, I can see that quite often there is data contradicting the reality, and yet without any data we blunder into things. We sometimes ignore the facts and the data. And always, as one of the Labor senators pointed out, the people pay. So I raise questions. I question the narrative. I question the media narrative. It's one way. I question the political narrative. It's one way. I question the propaganda and the demonising. But I don't make statements without facts, and I don't know sufficient facts to take a view other than a third view here. I question the cost of fuel. The biggest impact on our fuel prices is not Ukraine, or the Ukraine conflict, it's government taxes. Senator Hanson has flagged a reduction in excise duty. I question the way our capacity to defend ourselves, because we need manufacturing to produce weapons, to produce armaments, tanks. We don't have that capacity anymore. We've been gutted by adherence to UN agreements, Lima Declaration, Kyoto Protocol. We see today the government setting aside money for injecting babies with an untested vaccine. Babies. We hear the Defence Minister, the Foreign Minister, Senator Payne, talk about the Russians now having to fight German weapons that are being given to the Ukraine. But the Germans are giving them billions of dollars for gas, because the United Nations has destroyed their German capacity to look after its own energy needs. We have been disarmed. Germany's being disarmed. The only thing I will say of concrete in this statement is that we need to get the hell out of the United Nations, not follow it, because the United Nations is pushing a war on humanity. I'm not sufficiently informed to take a stance either way on this issue. I am, though, sufficiently informed to invite all senators to question what we're being told. So I implore senators, first of all, to understand basic needs of humans and the needs that are driving these conflicts, whether they're domestic, national or international, and to understand that the meeting of universal human needs for security, the needs for basic interactions, connections, this is the key when we understand those universal human needs, the key to connection, the key to relationships. So I just ask people to question. And I question how the Ukraine is $129 billion in debt to the IMF, I'm told from Senator Steele-John, when it's one of the richest countries in the world. How is that possible? So I ask questions, and I take a third view.